Now that's a sexy flywheel. Bronze and beautiful red paint. Hello Internet, I'm Guy. This is the 5th episode of working on the Stirling engine, and today I'm going to be working on the flywheel. And so here's the lovely bronze casting, beautifully made here. So I'm going to be doing all the finishing touches on this, working on the outside rim, drilling the hole, cleaning up the edges, the whole thing. These are all the parts that I've made so far. So I have all these various brass and aluminum components and reworking the casting here, this beautiful little ring. So it's coming along very nicely. I've got probably 2 or 3 more episodes to go, so stay with me and subscribe if you want to see the rest. I'm going to jump right in now and throw this on the lathe and start making it pretty. So I've got the flywheel mounted in my 3-jaw chuck. I'm not too concerned about concentricity, and I can do most of the operations with this setup and then just flip it over and finish it out. So I'm trimming it up. I'm using the brass end of my little hammer because it needs some vigorous tapping to get this located. That's within a couple of thou, so that's acceptable for what I'm doing here. So now I'm just going to clean up the outside edges. I'm using a single point carbide cutter here, and very carefully, you can see my hands are turning that very, very slowly and carefully to get all the way through that surface. Not quite enough. And one more pass. Is that enough? Yeah, it's looking better. Maybe one more. There we go. That was a couple of thou pass each time. Yep, looks nice and shiny. So now the cleanup on the outside edge. I did sand off a bunch of the sprues and rough surfaces before I put it on the machine, on the lathe here. So again, I'm using the hand wheel by hand here to get the rough stuff off, and then later I'm going to transition to using the motorized carriage that I engineered a while ago. So you can see it going back and forth there. I've got an automatic stop so it can't go too far. Now I'm doing a bevel on the outside edge with a 45-degree cutter. It kind of tends to jump in there a little bit, and this cutter tends to leave a bit of a burr once it's done, so you can see it a little bit there, and I can feel it with my finger or thumb. Not sure why it does that, but nothing you can't fix with a file. So I'm just rounding that over and making it look a little sweeter. Now to some 440 paper, and you can see if I apply that really firmly, it'll get rid of some of the slight unevennesses from the movement of the cutter head on the outside surface. Looks a lot prettier. Same thing on the outside, and now Scotch-Brite to polish it up. Looks nice. Isn't this why we do machining? Making beautiful things. So off camera I did the hub there, just kind of turned that down with my round nose cutter head. I'm just changing that, cleaning it up with the bevel, and kind of cleaning it up with the file rather. Little sandpaper. And a little Scotch-Brite. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, so now I have to drill and ream through for the shaft. I had a problem originally, which you didn't see, because the center drill kind of guided off and created a little lump in the middle, and I don't know why. I think I've got to adjust my tailstock. Something's not right there. So I cleaned that up with an 1/8" milling cutter, and now I'm using one of my really old drill bits, because a shiny new ultra-sharp drill bit will catch and make a rough drilling process in brass and bronze. So now I'm doing the final bore out with the larger size drill here. And of course deburring. That left a little bit of a burr there too, and I think I cleaned that up with a file off camera. So I'm flipping it over here, and then I'm going to true it back up with my dial indicator. It's writing on the surface of the jaws there, but it's not dialed in until I use the dial indicator, and here it is within about 5 thou or so. I think I overshot that one. Oh yeah, that was worse. Okay, keep tapping, tippity tap. A little gentler this time. Okay, that's still about 5 thou off. That's a little bit better. Oh yeah, that's more like 1 or 2 thou. That's good enough for this. So I'm just going to surface off that edge, as they say, just clean it up, get rid of the casting surface. Yep, that's looking good. One more little spring pass there. Clean it up. And now I'm using the cutter to cut another bevel on the outside surface. It's a 45-degree bevel. And again, that's going to leave a little burr that I'll clean up with a file. You can see little spurts of chips coming off. It tends to kind of jump and jump. This is something I've seen in both brass and bronze, but it works out fine as long as you leave it in one spot. Now, I'm using a round end cutter that I made from high-speed steel, and I'm actually doing a bevel with that, and I'm also going to resurface that whole outside edge. I found that a round end, it doesn't matter really what the radius is, but it leaves a much nicer finish on brass and bronze. So I'm doing, I think, the outside edge here. Oh no, I'm doing a cleanup on the exterior surface, that's right. Then I'm going to do the outside edge and do a bit of a bevel using the round edge cutter because I don't have a diagonal one that I've cut. And again, filing it down, cleaning it up. So now I'm using that round end cutter to deburr the center of the hub, and then I'm going to drive it out and clean out that whole surface of the edge or end of the hub. Deburring the outside edge of that corner, or chamfering it if you will. So now I have to drill through for number 632 cap at a 10-degree angle, and so I struggled for a while to figure out a best way to do that, and I just put it in the vise and lifted it up, sitting on the piece of tubing and another scrap of aluminum. And as you can see, my angle gauge is close enough to 10 degrees. This makes no difference because it's not a critical angle. But I can just bolt that down, and for light duty work like this, it works fine. You notice that the flywheel is wrapped in a couple of layers of paper just to protect it so that the vise doesn't push anything into it. Of course, I cleaned the vise very thoroughly. So now I'm using, I think that's a Woodruff key cutter, one that I've had around for quite a long time, and just getting a bit of a flat surface there because I can't bring in a center drill that close. So I'm going to go jumping in directly with the number 6 tap drill once I've got this surfaced out. Yeah, that came off pretty clean there. You can see I've got a nice flat surface that's perfectly true to the drill. So I can just bring in my number 6 tap drill. I'm going to do it very gently so it doesn't wander around. Just tiptoe into that surface. And once it engages, then I can just push on through. It's only about 1/8 of an inch depth of cut there, and there I am through. So now I've got my tap guide up in the head in a collet, and just tap on through. No need to back up, partly because it's such a short travel, and partly because bronze and brass, you really don't need to keep backing up because it just cleans out very nicely. So now I've made the decision to paint the interior part of it bright red. I've seen old steam engines and traction engines in England and Europe and stuff. They tend to paint them red, at least in the ones that I've seen. And I understand the thinking there, that it's a big, dangerous thing that's spinning around, and you want to make sure people see it. And plus, I think red is just a really pretty color, so why not, right? I'm letting some of the paint run over onto the finished surfaces because I know I can just use the solvent, as you see on the left, on a rag and just wipe off the excess paint even after it's dried. So I'm being a little sloppy. So now I'm going to do the crankshaft here, and so I have to cut it to length first, and I've measured it and left a little magic marker line there with a Sharpie, just so I know where to cut that off. I'm going a little bit longer, and there's a reason for that. Eventually I'm going to add a pulley to this system so I can drive a generator to run some lights to self-light the thing when it's running. So the generator will power LED lights, as I did in my previous Stirling engine project. So there I've got that nicely cut off. I'm going to file off the little spigot that stuck out on the end where I didn't quite clean out the very center. And then spin it up and just clean up that outside edge. They do call for a slight chamfer there, which just helps sliding parts onto it. Just checking that the bearing will slide on, which is the important part right there. Now I'm going to line up my parting tool to the end of the rod there, so I can set my DRO to a 0 there and move in by the prescribed distance in the plans. I'm using the parting tool to make the recess that's called out at each end of this axle. So I've got it lined up pretty much there. I'm going to apply some cutting oil and make a series of cuts here. You can see I've got a close-up there showing the handle, and it's, I'm going just 0.015 depth of cut here. It's not very deep. So I'm just tiptoeing in. And that's almost there. Yes. Okay. So now I'm just going to clean this up and keep doing repeating cuts to get the depth of cut that I need. So I'm coming out and moving over and rinse and repeat. So I can match that depth of cut every time with the DRO, of course. Coming out, going over, and yep, that's looking pretty good. I think I need to make one more cut to make the prescribed width there. So cleaning it up with some 440, there was a bit of a burr there, particularly on the right side of that relief that I made. A little bit of Scotch-Brite never hurts, just polishes it up a little bit. So that's the finished axle. That's it for today's episode. If you've been enjoying the video, please give me a like or subscribe if you haven't already, because there's a lot more to come on this project. Next week I'm going to be making a wood base here, but I'm going to actually forego the casting here and just go around that entirely. Make some bearing supports out of a solid chunk of brass here, and I'm going to use some brass rod here. Just replace those two parts right there, so this will just sit on brass rods. That's the cylinder sections there. And I have a nice big chunk of walnut that I'm going to use for the base. So it's going to be woodworking next week and a lot of brass fabrication. Stay tuned. And by the way, if you're enjoying my channel, you can support me on Patreon now. I've just set up Patreon for that very reason. And if you didn't know this already, these videos take a long time to produce. I spend about 10 hours per video to produce. So I can use all the love and support you can give me with likes and subscriptions and so forth. I really appreciate it. Thank you.